I kind of live my dream. I don't. When I go to work, I don't feel that I'm going to work. I'm going to do something that I love. If you're passionate to do something, it doesn't feel like you're working, and then it could be fun.
Yo, happy to have you back at Vallerret's Creative Outsiders with the radical stories from behind the lens. I'm Lukas Riedl, and with me, as always, is Carl Vandenboom, right from Norway. How's it going, Carl?
Good, Lucas. It's a good day.
I heard you found some snow already.
Yeah, I mean, late October. I think, being in Norway and in Voss, anything that comes before Christmas is a bonus. Even if it dumps, it's probably going to rain around Christmas. So anything before Christmas is a bonus. But we had a dusting yesterday, cancelled all plans, and went and did some photography up in the snow. This was a great day.
Sounds like a good plan. This episode, we have a kind of a full circle moment. Back in the days before Vallerret even existed, we were always out in the snow, me and Carl and a couple of other friends taking turns, freezing our fingers off, trying to get some decent shots of each other snowboarding. And that's basically where the idea for the first photography glove was born, and today's guest is a legend in that space, not only, and also one of our very first people to back the idea. A real OG of snowboarding photography, and also an OG of the Vallerret story. Pasi Salminen from Finland. Welcome to Vallerret's Creative Outsiders. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. Doing good here in Finland.
So we just had a chat before we started the recording, and there's no snow in Finland at the moment.
No.
But anyone who knows you or has seen your work, you have been spending quite some time in freezing environments with the likes of Eero Ettala and other legends in the game of snowboarding. You're almost 35 years in the business, doing amazing commercial work, or a lot of commercial work nowadays. But thinking back of 40 years, that's probably a tough one, but what's the one shoot you will never forget?
There's plenty of those that I'm never gonna forget. But if I need to choose few of those, I can choose one, because there have been we rolled with Eero 10 years in a row, every night in the winter. I don't know, 100 shoots in a year, or whatever. But it was we did shitload of stuff, so can't just pick one. But there have been really nice memories when we went to the example in Montana, Yellowstone National Park in the USA. We shoot there on a powder. And that was pretty nice, although I suck on snowmobile. The sledding is so hard. I suck that totally.
Oh, yeah.
There was a one kicker that guys built, and I take a lap 2 hours in a row to just try to figure it out how to drive that sled in a powder. That was one of those memories. I don't know, do I really wanna figure it out that anymore, or memorize that anymore? But kind of good memories still. Struggling on the snow.
Yeah, they're tricky in the powder, the snowmobiles, because I lived up in the north of Sweden for a couple of winters, and you get a little bit of powder, but it's generally you don't really get so stuck. But I'm sure in those areas when you've it's all fresh powder, it's deep as, it's got to be tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. You need to really figure it out how to ride there.
And then once you get stuck and you get off, it's just chest deep powder, and you're trying to dig this out, and you're just sinking. And
good memories.
Did you have the camera gear with you all the time?
No, actually, because I sucked so badly, Eero always carried my camera gear on the backcountry shoots, because he was way better sledding than me. And we mostly do that me and Heikki was doubling up on the sled, and Eero was carrying my gear. But kind of all of my snowboarding shots was mainly shoot in Finland in an urban environment that I can drive with my car over there. That was a kind of my goal to shoot, and I kind of enjoy more that I can bring my own lights and everything with me to the set.
Yeah, I guess it's easier downtown Helsinki if you just park somewhere and chuck everything out and then...
Indeed. Of course, we didn't have that much snow in Helsinki every year, so we drive around Finland I don't know, countless times up or the north.
For the most of your career as a snowboard photographer, it was mostly urban stuff around Finland, right?
Yeah. That's I loved more. I never loved powder stuff and backcountry stuff, and not even that much the park stuff, but urban stuff was my thing. It was something that I could do more, because on a background you can't do that much stuff, and also in a park you can't do that much stuff, but in cityscapes you can basically do everything over there. You can light it up so many different ways, and you can just build the stuff by yourself.
It gives you more creative freedom, right? That's like it gives you more creative freedom from the photographer side, because
Indeed.
Talk about a park jump, the rider can be like super creative and do all this different kinds of stuff, but you're very limited on like 4, 6, 8 angles that might work around that park. And in the city, it's
really hard to catch the moment. You need to do sequence on those, and I kind of hate those sequence things. So one shot was like the thing, and if you shoot on like a rail or whatever urban stuff, it was more like a stylish ones than a spin to win game.
I'm super inspired by your work as a snowboard photographer, and how you use lights in the background and the foreground and different colors and stuff. And we just had a conversation on our previous podcast, so the difference between a photographer and an artist. And I feel like now I think about it, you are that artist that like creates the scene, paints the scene, sets it up in a way that you really get what you want, and then take the photo, as opposed to just sort of a documenting, as you say, like someone doing a 1080 or whatever.
It was still like a documenting. In a snowboard photography, you can't make things up, you can't change how the people do that. You document the thing. You always see on a photo where the rider came and when he lands and what was the highest point of the trick or something like that. So it was still pure documenting, but doing that bit nicer way.
Yeah, totally. That's kind of what I was getting at. And then the trick is still the main focus, and what Riedl does is insane. But then you add a flair to it beyond just the documentation side. I was just looking through our sort of talking notes this morning, and I thought about an image I took a couple of years ago, and I wanted to share it with you, because not that I've copied you, maybe you think I've copied you, but it's definitely been inspired by your work.
Sweet.
To take a scene and just light it up and do it in the darkness. And I think it was super fun to play with, lighting the elements that you want to be lit, and come away with something that's just not your everyday photo. And Lucas, if you get the scouting photo I took, I was just out biking with my family, came across all these pipes lying around, and it's not something I would have, there we go, it's not something I would have normally seen and gone, this is a location. But then taking like your mindset or like your style with lighting stuff up, I was like, this is maybe a possibility. And for those that are just listening, what we're looking at is 5 industrial pipes in a junkyard essentially, and we lit them up with some strobes and some color lights, and put a skateboard around one of the pipes. So I just thought about that this morning when I was looking through the shot notes, and like, that photo I took was totally, I would not have thought of that without sort of being inspired by your work.
I could do that also, so that was like something that was my style back then. Good work.
Well done, Carl.
It's never going to be to your level, but
how does it feel, Carl, to get like a well done from the person who inspired the whole action?
I'm going to live on that for a long time. I got compliments from a legend.
If we're at that already, what's the most chaotic moment you've managed to make look calm in a photo and kind of bring back a banger?
There was, I would say, shitload of those, because back in days those flash radio triggers didn't work that well. Those were like a kind of nightmare. Once you get flash triggering up, then you went back on your place where you figured out where to shoot, and then the flash didn't fire. Then you run back and forth all the time. I guess those were like those freaking moments that you felt that I'm gonna destroy every gear what I have. But I don't know. I don't think I'd have any other like a major like that kind of stuff.
What's a trick or your mindset that helps you to stay focused in that? Because I know that from on set, something goes wrong, you start to get nervous. And so do you have a trick to stay calm and in those conditions?
I didn't need to calm down on those. I just wanted to have the shot. So I need to know, I know that I need to run. So that was my thing. So I need to figure it out something. I didn't stress that much. And I have always something on my mind that I can do without that flash. If that flash doesn't fire, I will still do with one flash or whatever. So there wasn't any, there was any client saying you need to light up the scene like this. that all was how I figured it out. So I didn't need to care that much how the end is, the end result is. So you can be always like a creative on that side. So if one class fails, you can always do something.
So the trick is to be your own creative director, boss on set.
Indeed.
And then be ready to run.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nowadays those works, I guess, better. So
When you
don't need to run that much anymore.
And when you're talking about the flashes not working, was that sort of in all areas of your shooting? Like if it was with the snowboard and the commercial stuff, was it kind of, you're talking about the flashes not working in all areas?
No, it was. I guess it was more the distance what we need to have on the snowboarding stuff. In corporate stuff, the flashes are quite near you. You don't need to have that long range of those. But aero hitting 30 step handrail, which is like, I don't know, my flash could be like 100 meters away from me. And there could be like a metals and all those stuff between my flash and me. So that's why I guess that was the tricky part.
Was it mostly in like setting up that you couldn't get them to work, or did you often have aero like in mid trick and then you're firing and then it didn't work?
Once you get that work, it worked, but it was sometimes nightmare to get those work. I have like 2 receivers on one flash, and I have like a backup systems. Back in days, those flashes have like those light stuff where you can, if you one flash fires, then there's another flash fires also. I had like a small flash firing the bigger flash, just to have like a multiple ways to fire up that one. If the one trigger fails, then another could work. So there was like I have plenty of those.
You had backups on
systems.
backups.
Yeah,
that's cool. Because my thoughts were like snowboarding and what aero does. A lot of the athletes, it's sometimes a one-hit trick, right? They'll do it until they get it, and then once they've got it, it's not such an easy thing to repeat. So if you miss the shot, you've kind of missed the chance.
Indeed, and there was.
I like the backup on backup idea. That really saves you.
Yeah, and there was cases that the arrow hit like one time, and that was it. And you need to get the shot. There wasn't like a second chance. You don't want to say to the rider that, come on, do one more time. You can die on that trick and do one more time. So you just need to get the shot.
Oh, they love that.
Talk us through that, like the pressure of having to get that shot in that moment.
I don't know, did I ever have like a pressure on it? Of course, I wanted to have all the shots. And I guess I never missed any shot because of my mispressing like too late or too early, or my gear failed or anything like that. I didn't take any pressure of that. Of course, there was like I would say the riders wouldn't call me that often if I failed, most likely. Yeah, but I don't know.
And from sitting on the outside looking in, it looks like you and Eero are quite good friends. And I think maybe did that help with just like lowering the stress and having a good relationship with the person you're shooting?
I don't know. I didn't have any pressure with the other riders also who came to shoot with me. I guess I was just that confident that I can do that shit. I didn't need to stress that much.
That's good.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it probably gives you like the peace of mind too. It's like you're sure you can do it. That's one part. And then on the other hand, it comes in that you don't need to get it, even if kind of you should, because if Eera's jumping over that between those 2 parking decks and stuff, and you're probably not doing that too often because it's freaking dangerous. It must be hard to just not feel any pressure. I'm very impressed of you tell this so calmly, and I wouldn't.
It also could be that I have already forget the pressure of that. And I had like a shitload of pressure on that time, but I can't anymore at least remember that I had that much pressure on that. Of course, like business-wise, I had pressure. There was cases that we drove like 600 kilometers up north for one shot. And then there was like a few chances and then we drew back. So if I failed that, I missed shitload of money. So I guess there was like that kind of pressure. Because on that time, that was like my main income.
And then, so how did you sort of overcome or like deal with that pressure?
I don't know. I never felt like a pressure on those things that much still, because we did we did so much. I haven't ever been like that much into money that I need to earn this much and this much and that much. I just loved that what we did so much. So if I would like count the hours what we spend on those, that would never make sense. For one shot you drive basically 1,500 kilometers and spend like 2 days or 1 day, 1.5 day for one shot. That never makes like any sense for anything. So it wasn't on like a money. It was like a pure like a love what we did.
I guess that ties into what we had on the last episode with Sarah as well. If you're passionate about something and you enjoy doing it, it's got to work out, and with that comes success in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And for you, obviously has. But now I'm interested from how or at what point did you realize you would want to go more into commercial work, and how did that evolve into how it is now that you do like mostly amazing commercial work and just snowboarding once in a while as a fun time, I guess?
I don't know how it came on that, but it was like a kind of easy transition. Of course, I have done a whole my photography career something else than snowboarding. So there was always like events that I shoot, like portraits and stuff like that. But I guess when the Instagram and all those came up, that was like a kind of break dealer that I need to do something else, because there wasn't anymore that much magazines that you can publish. The advertiser didn't use that much photos, so you need to make up something. And of course, we have already done like 8 years or something like that in a row. And that was kind of like it was kind of, although I love that so much, but it was kind of hard, traveling around and spend nights at the cityscapes and drive like 1,000 kilometers per night or something like that. It was like, it was rough. So the corporate stuff is kind of easy going and like normal day hours, working hours and stuff like that.
Okay, but now it was said you for 8 years, like years and years with aero and snowboarding and portraits and events, and now you do all the amazing stuff for Finnair and many other clients. So how do you keep finding new ideas? Because you're decades behind the lens, right? So does it get repetitive sometimes, or?
I don't know how to do that or say what I do. I just shoot so much. So when you shoot something with another client, then you can use those on another client, and when you have a different environment, you can like basically combine all the things what you have done in the past. I guess that's the thing. Shoot, then you can combine those.
Okay. And then there's one thing that I would highly recommend for everyone listening or watching is to check out Pasi's social channels, because I have rarely seen a person smiling more in his behind the scenes content than you do. It's so cool to see. It's like you show all this. It looks like a very busy day. Just let me describe that. But it looks like a very busy day. You come in with a van full of stuff. You build up a studio. You take, I don't know, 250 employee portraits, and every couple of seconds you turn around the camera, or you have the camera, it's like in a selfie mode, and there's a big ass smile on your face, and it's so inspiring to see.
Indeed.
For like what maybe would look like an ordinary job for someone else. And I honestly have seen some not so happy faces on sets and shoots I have been on. I would love to have like a whole crew of Pasis on like a shoot. So how do you? What's the mystery of always being so positive and so happy?
I don't know. I just love what I do. It's really hard to like say, but I kind of live my dream. When I go to work, I don't feel that I'm going to work. I'm going to do something that I love. I don't know. It's really hard to put on the words, but if you're passionate to do something, it doesn't feel like you're working, and then it could be fun.
I think that's very impressive after so long. I feel like after you do anything for so long, it becomes normal and less of this thing you love to do.
Yeah.
It becomes sort of mundane, I guess. And the fact that you've kept it as this fun, exciting thing for so many years, that's if you can think of the secret how you've managed to do that, I think a lot of people would like to know.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me, but
maybe there is no secret. Maybe it's just you.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But it's a true fact. It's like what every hobby photographer, or like even I know a couple of like really good filmmakers that have that as a hobby, and then after years in the industry, they kind of like, it's not burned out, but they have lost what they had as a side thing, as a passion, and then they transition into doing that as a job. And then obviously this comes along with you can't always do what you want. I won't say they have lost the passion, but the passion is not burning as brightly anymore and not as often. So do you think maybe your long time with Aero or working in the snowboard industry where you didn't have that pressure and you were working for sure, you wanted to get a photo printed or sold and stuff, but having all that fun kind of like lit up your passion flame so much that it still burns brightly?
It could be that. I honestly can't say what's the deal on that, but I just kind of like to see the when I go to work, I there's like a same kind of day. I can see the different people. I can see the different spaces. I could get myself to the places that you can't go if you want to go. I have seen like a shitload of stuff and learn kind of a lot of different industries. That's kind of like have the joy on this one. I know how paper mills work. I know how they paper do because I've been that many times on those places. I know the a shitload of those tiny things in different industries. That's like a super nice on this one. So that keeps me motivated to see more things and meet more people and stuff like that.
I'm just thinking of the work you do. You are doing a lot of different stuff too, right? Like it's not every day shooting the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's. I was a real estate photographer for a couple of years, and I really enjoyed it. But I only did it sort of a few days a week. And if I did a full day, I was pretty exhausted and not really willing to do another day the following day. But every couple of days, I would do a full day, and it was fine. But I thought at one stage like I couldn't do this 5 days a week. It's just kind of the same stuff every day. You could every house I shot, I managed to get a couple creative artistic shots that I wanted to shoot after I've kind of got the package that was needed. But I think maybe having those different jobs and different things that you shoot could help to keep the inspiration for so long.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, I was just shooting 2 weeks in a row for one company portraits. We did like I don't know, 300 portraits or something like that. I would say on a day 9 that was like a looping back and forth, the same joke, same thing. Background is here. You need to look here. You need to be like that. There's like no da 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 da, and doing the same thing over and over in like 10 days. That felt like a work, but still it was like I couldn't still feel like that I could do that few more weeks, of course, because those persons who came in the photo, those were like so stoked to get the photos and everything like that. But still, I feel you with that few days in a row, the same thing. Try 2 weeks portraits, then
Yeah.
Now with all the passion we talked about, you have a lot of commercial work. Is there any passion project you're still working on next to all the business, I'd say?
I don't have that much passion projects, but we shoot with Aero with every year a few times. So those are like those that I enjoy a lot. You don't need to think about the money-wise of the snowboarding. So you just go there and do whatever you want to do. That's kind of my passion projects.
And we're falling back to the snowboarding because it's cool, but who's basically coming up with the spot and the idea of the shot? Are you doing this as a team, or is it you telling Aero and he's going like, yeah, I can do that? Or is Aero coming up to you? How's that working?
It was more like Aero saying the spots and what he's going to do. Of course, I saw some spots, but I didn't never want to say Aero that you need to do that one, or I would recommend to you to do that one, because otherwise I would say do that one and might die on that one. So I never wanted to say to riders what they want to do. So I could show the spots, but I never would say what they need to do on that. That would never come in my mind to say that you need to do like I don't know, whatever on those. Their decisions, what they want to hurt themselves.
It's also very interesting how casually you say, hey, they might die on that.
No, but that's
after I guess it's one thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. There was cases that basically you could die if you fail. The same what I spoke earlier, the Yellowstone thing, when we are shooting the backcountry. If guys would hurt there, that's what it, sledding to nearest village like 2 hours and getting the medical would take like at least 4 hours. So it would be done deal if something happens there. Basically, you need to figure it out, all those already, that your mindset is that those guys could be it.
I can think of one image of yours where Ethel is board sliding over the rail of a bridge, and then underneath, it must be like a 15-20 foot drop to like frozen concrete, right? So if he like caught an edge on the top there and fell off, like, yeah, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, there's a lot of those things. You know, that roof gap thing, whatever, have hit few times, that it's like I don't know, 5 stories high. And if you don't make over it, you will hit on the wall and drop like 5 stories down. So you would pretty much hurt that on. So there's a lot of those things that, you know, I don't want to say to guys that you should jump over that.
There must be some collaboration though, because often they'll see a feature. They need to understand, and probably they do because they've been in the industry so long, but they understand the angles that you would look for and would make the shot good, right? And more than just they want to do this trick over this feature. So is there a bit of back and forwards where you go, okay, that's cool. Can we move to here? Can we do it? Or like, how does that work?
Indeed. Every time I spoke with Eero, how he's going to do the trick. What's the Eero's point? Where is going to be the highest level of the best photo point? And we always spoke about which way it would look best, you know, for the rider-wise. And then I figured out for the composition-wise where it's going to look best. But of course, yeah, we always spoke about that. And there was like a case is that, example, Eero did backside lip slide on like a huge rail, and he was riding like all the time like this. I would say, Eero, that this is the only angle how we're going to shoot that. So you need to have your hands higher or lower when you do that.
With your arm in front of your face.
Yeah. And then, you know, Eero is so professional. He was, okay, I can lower my hands higher or lower. And then he did like a backside lip slide, hands lower.
Yeah.
And we got the shot.
Yeah. Cool.
But it was collaboration.
That kind of just shows the talent of...
You would basically think if you compared it to a golfer, tell a golfer to swing differently and still get the shot.
Yeah.
And a photographer would do that. The golfer would say like, you're crazy. And then you guys teaming up and Eero just goes like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it still
of
works.
Course there
and
was...
everyone who's snowboarding in the park and trying tricks and stuff
knows
how hard it is.
Of course there was cases that I couldn't say, Eero, that you need to do like this. But those like smaller ones that we could do more times the same trick, I could say.
Was there any instances where Eero or another snowboarder you were shooting came to you with an idea and you looked at the location and then you were just like, this doesn't work?
Yeah. I actually one time there was the huge gap in frozen water over. When we first time go there, I said there that the wind doesn't have that much power that you can jump over that. I would say I'm not 100% sure that you can do that, but they said that I know I'm gonna jump that over. I'll know that it works. So like okay, whatever. But I said that it would work. But otherwise, like there wasn't any. Of course, there was like things that was looking good on a video, but doesn't look that good on a photo. There was multiple cases of those because it was so tricky things, you know, combo tricks or like that small that doesn't look good on photo. Yeah, there was plenty of those, of course.
So I want to reel it back to like the cold. I mean, you're Finnish, so I guess you're basically never freezing. But what would you say was the lowest temperature you've been spending a night out, and how do you actually deal with the cold when you're out there for hours?
It was, I guess, in Rovaniemi, it was like a minus 31 or 30 something. It was freaking cold. You know, there was so much moisture in the air or something that even my glasses were like frozen. Every stuff what you bring out was like a little frost on it. That was kind of like that was the coldest one. But it didn't feel that cold because we were up north. It was a bit different when you are by the seaside, where there's so much humidity. You know, that feels more colder than up north. But that was still a bit cold, I would say. But dealing for that, I don't know. I just have like a shitload of gear with me, you know, warm underwear, like a layers and layers and layers.
I've noticed that you like to also wear our gloves, which is awesome, but you like to wear the thin ones.
Yeah.
And I know that you're not in warm locations, and I've seen you in minus 20 with a pair of Urbex, and thinking, okay, this guy, it's like that's our urban kind of glove, and we definitely have options for the temperatures you're shooting in. But you like to wear the thin one.
Yeah. The thinnest one is the best one. I think I have ever shoot. Of course, few times I have shot with those where you can have like a finger off and you can feel that. But sometimes I work better when I have like a same temperature all the way in my hand, you know. And it could be a little bit cold also. The thinner ones are super nice. But before you came up, I didn't have any gloves on in winter time. So kind of I used to have with shooting without gloves.
Okay. And so you have options of when you're standing out there for a while and you're shooting, you have other options with you to go and get warm after you've done your, the camera work, or how did you do it before you were using our glove?
I could put on a hands on a pocket for a few minutes. That's the kind of thing. Before,
Okay.
When was those things where we shoot like really cold? When the guys were like going up on the rail or whatever, I was like always doing like this. And a few minutes after when they're gonna drop down, then I put my hands on a trigger and hope not to freeze. In a minus 20 or so, your muscle ain't working that fast anymore.
Yeah.
But still it feels better to have those like really thin ones.
It underlines what I just said. It's like there's Finnish people, they just don't freeze at all.
It could be. I'm so used to that.
Yeah, I notice I kind of wear more clothing this time of year where the season's changing than I do when we're sort of in the middle of winter. You adapt to the cold. It's like coming from the warm to the cold, that's when it's like freezing. And then even if the temperature's colder in a few months, I don't wear more clothes. You just adapt to it over.
Yeah, indeed.
You're almost 40 years behind the camera. Is there anything that really still drives you, or anything you would really still be able to take a photo of?
There's a few things that I want to shoot with snowboarding still. I have had those ideas like 15 years, but I couldn't have like a time or maybe spot or money for that. There's like a few things that I still want to do.
Are you able to share the ideas?
No, I don't want to share those ideas yet.
No, you're gonna keep it. No, okay.
Somebody's gonna jump in the car right now after listening.
No one has done those so far. Not the gnarly tricks, more like a fun and photogenic stuff. Yeah, I don't want to anymore.
We won't steal your ideas.
Yeah, I don't want to shoot those gnarly tricks anymore. I'm gonna want to have those mellow ones that people won't die on the set.
You've had your fair share of fear on shots, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think we're ready for some quickfire. I just have a few little questions. For shooting, do you prefer motion or stillness?
Still.
Okay. How does that tie into like you being a snowboard photographer for so long?
Nowadays, it's way easier. You don't need to do that anymore, that fast and furious stuff. Of course, back in days,
okay,
that was the thing, of course.
Okay, and snow or city?
Snow.
I guess we answered the next question already. I have here speed or patience, but I guess it changed over the years too.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite Finnish comfort food on a cold day?
Food on a cold day? Dude, that's a hard one. We never ate on the spots, so we always did our jobs first and then we went to eat. We could do that 8 hours without food, and then after the job we went to eat. I don't know. There wasn't any because we didn't bring any food on the set. Never.
What's your favorite Finnish meal then? Like traditional Finnish food?
Karjalan piirakka would be the one. Karelian pie. It's not like a food. It's more like a bread thing. That's really nice. And fish soup, of course. That's a good one. And hernekeitto, pea soup.
All right. But is it true that I guess with Aero in the early days, after an 8-hour shoot, it was fast food if it was possible?
Yeah, indeed. Pizza and a burger a day. That was the thing.
Okay. Okay, we got one more last things. How would you sum up your creative drive in one word?
I don't know. That's hard one. I don't feel that much creative. Like, I'm a more like I'm more like a customer service person than creative person. So I don't have that much that creative side of that. What I love to do, but I don't feel that much that I'm super creative. I just like I have a passion for customer service. Make those images look good and
People
make the
pleaser.
people look good and have to do something what client want me to produce the shot for them. So that's the thing. I don't feel that creative.
We had a talk about imposter syndrome a couple episodes back, so it's strong in here. At least that's what I hear. But it's I guess it's a great set of mindset to go into any kind of creative work. Is like you want to make something that makes other people happy and or other people are satisfied with. That's already a good start. Cool. Pasi, I guess that's it. Thanks for hanging with us for so long already. Even if you only use the thin gloves, but we're pumped you still enjoy them.
I use the thicker ones when we set up the things. Of course, yeah. I still have those with me all the time.
And you have been using the wrist strap for like a very creative setup with the, what's that called? With the lens and like the LED lights. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was good one. Luckily, I have your gloves with me.
Other uses for creative camera work with Vallerret.
Yeah.
If you want to know, check out Pasi's.
I'm looking forward to seeing that reference.
You didn't see
Cool.
them?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I guess I forgot.
Yeah, I think I have those ones here. Yeah, I was shooting like an event for Burton, and there was like a really, really gray weather, like shittiest weather ever. And then I came up, I'm gonna put these ones, the LED lights, front of my lens, but I couldn't have anything, how to tie those up. But I got your gloves with those wrist things, so I tied it up with that one and gloves hanging up here.
Cool.
I'll bring up the picture. I'll show you the picture afterwards.
That was funny that I
creative,
had
Pasi.
that like a meter away from me.
Yeah.
Solid
Fantastic.
preparation.
Yeah, of course.
Even though I'm a little shocked that after 35 years you don't have duct tape with you on a shoot.
No, I have this nowadays.
That's all right. It's good. No offense.
But
he has it all there, right?
I don't bring that on a set, on a slope, and when I'm shooting.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Hey, thanks, Pasi, for joining us and sharing your knowledge and your experience. It's always awesome to talk to you and soak up your information.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being on. Thanks to everyone for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. Follow the show. Make sure to push the subscribe button wherever you're listening. And don't forget to keep pushing your own limits. That was another episode of Creative Outsiders by Vallerret. Some radical stories from behind the lens. Until next time, stay curious, stay warm, and keep creating. Ciao.